Hello friends, greetings from Bali, Indonesia. It's a very warm day here today. We are at my favorite, one of my favorite little temples here. They have lots of events and dances and cultural events and lots of drumming. Obviously there's been some shows, with the traditional music from Bali. This temple is very cool. I love these guys. Again, I said it before, but these are counterintuitive because they look scary, but they actually keep the bad demons away. They are protectors. They're actually supposed to scare the bad demons. So yeah, it's appropriate that I talk about this for a moment because what I want to talk about is an important thing. There's a big holiday coming in Bali. It's called Silent Day, which means the whole island goes silent and there's a complete blackout. There's no lights allowed. Nobody's allowed in the street. You have to stay home. It's completely silent, the whole city. And that's supposed to be so the bad demons fly over the island and think that there's nobody there and they keep flying. They don't come to Bali. And so there's all these festivals with statues and stuff. Let me show you. These statues that the people build are featured all over the island. There's some really spectacular ones. They're basically like monsters to keep the demons away, right? And that's what they do. That's the purpose. So with that in mind, I just want to talk about the spiritual side of drumming. Now, I may have talked about this before, but I think it's an important topic that for some reason, we in the West, we lose touch with these things. And drumming has such an ancient culture, such a big part of drumming is the whole spiritual side, the connection to the universe, and used to heal people and to perform the medical healings and stuff like that. So obviously there's the ancient culture of drumming and the modern culture of drumming. Look at this beautiful butterfly here. Anyway, that's the great thing about Bali. There's so much nature everywhere, and there's so much culture that it's you can't help but to be inspired by all this, and to be surrounded by it is a blessing. It's really a blessing. I recommend to everybody who's recovering from something, a divorce, a bad breakup, or whatever problem you may have had, to come to Bali and be around this kind of energy, because it truly is, something special. Anyway, the whole spiritual side of drumming is something that, for me, has helped me keep going. I've been playing for over 40 years now, right? What keeps you going through all the hardships? There's been times where I was flat broke, man, and struggling for gigs and You know, those kind of times will make you want to quit drumming and seek a career change. But the spiritual side of it is the connection to drumming is so deep when you take it that way, that the temporary burdens, don't bother you so much. You just live for the time where you can continue to play and contribute to the whole spectrum in music and life. This is such a beautiful setting here. There's obvious, connections way back to Africa, way back to ancient times with drumming and the healing properties of drumming. I've experienced them myself. Now, to a big degree, it's been to get over depression or any kind of bad moods and stuff like that. But I've also experienced, you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but physical ailments. I feel better when I play. If I have any kind of a pain in my body or any kind of thing that is wrong with me, even colds and flus, when I'm playing, I feel better. The blood circulates. There's something about the sound too. Perhaps it's the rhythm. Perhaps it's the way the air flows when rhythms are produced. When you hit the drums, there's some real magnetism going on in relation to all the properties of rhythm and your body. It's deeply connected, and I feel that these types of things are never talked about. Now, even I saw an interview with Vinny, and they asked him if he believed all this stuff, and he said, "Oh yeah, absolutely, that he's had out-of-body experiences." And I mean, that happens to a lot of players. It's happened to me, quite a bit. Not every time, but it has happened where I feel like I completely have this out-of-body experience. It's a total trip, right? And I think those things are important to discuss because we are inundated in a world of superficiality, of guys, doing really like amateurville stuff, and poor young people looking at that, thinking that that's what drumming is about, doing finger control on the hi-hat and playing a really pop song with, I just have no words for that kind of stuff. As we call them, those are people that own drum sets and that pass themselves off as musicians. That's a real issue, because what they do is they game the algorithm, and that's a problem with this platform, is the algorithm can be gamed, and even YouTube itself, they have these courses on how to put a thumbnail and how to make your people retain your audience, and retention of editing and all this crazy stuff, and post like you are an expert in your field and find your niche and you'll find your audience. And the problem is anybody can do that without any proof of what they are. The true value to me is the connection to the human spirit, the human mind, and what it does for you, what music really does for you. When I was going to clubs, checking out clubs, and when I was a kid, I mean, people would sit there, listen to the music with their eyes closed. They'd sit there, listen to the music with their eyes closed, like super concentrating and listening. That just doesn't happen anymore. Everybody's got their phone and their blah blah. And on occasion I've seen that happen when it's a really great, musician playing. But for the most part, man, go to Fat Cat in New York. If people are playing pool, I don't give a crap about who's playing. Even the ones that do, they're on their phone and they're yapping, and I mean, we've like lost the connection to the depth. The depth is so beautiful. The feeling that music gives you. it has something to do with the whole thing that's going on, you know, the modern way that we consume music and etc. Okay. There's a lady just walked by me oblivious to what I was saying. This is another part of this little temple here. To be oblivious to all that stuff is to miss out on the experience of being a human being, you know. So what can you do to let this part of drumming into your life? Now, that's not an easy question, but the first thing I would do is I would travel. I would travel to countries that are drumming meccas. Okay, now I know this is a lot to ask, but if you really, really want to play drums, you can't stay in one place, in one little place in a town where there's, you know, where it's not a drumming mecca. Like, go to Cuba, go to Brazil, go to any country. Well, you know, pick your country in Africa if you have to see what countries are really happening now with drumming, and go to places where there are drumming meccas. Even in a place like Bali, you know, they don't have like drum set tradition, but the percussion here is just amazing. What they do is so beautiful, and it's so deep and it raw. You know, there's this connection to the things in life, to the earth and the air and the sea. I don't want to get too corny and all that stuff, but man, it is such a different life here. Can I ask you what is this drum called? What's
Kandang.
Kandang.
Wadong.
Kandang wadong.
Yeah.
It's the two drums.
Kandang Lanang.
Kenang lanang.
Wow.
Male and female.
Oh, I see. Can do you mind a quick demonstration?
Ya, itu kontingen dari Kabupaten Barong.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Lebih yang ini jam 11. Jam 11 nih.
Ya.
Baik.
Namanya Gede Adiarto dengan 2 istri. Lagi ada.
That is awesome, brother. It is such a different life than what YouTube proposes life is. You know, that's not drumming. That's not what music is all about. So perhaps, you know, as I'm getting older, I'm able to say these things, right? Because I just have the experience of seeing what it was like, or what it's like now in different drumming cultures. In India, for example, go to India, for God's sake. Go to India, man, you'll see the marked difference. It's such a huge difference in culture when in regards to drumming and music. It's just astounding. The connection, the beauty, the appreciation from the people, you know. I go to the States and people, I'm sorry to say, but they're just, you know, it's just not anything remotely like what it used to be, and that's a great pity in my eyes. The spiritual side of drumming, especially in the West, has been suffering because of the material views on what matters. You know, when did money become the biggest thing? When did money become the all out measure of how successful one is as a musician? You know, when did these things come into play? They certainly weren't there before when I was coming up. You know, it certainly was about playing, about being a real player, that you'd be able to play lots of different styles and make an actual living in music, because you could play in many situations, you know. And even then, it was hard, man. It was really hard. And what got me through it was my connection to the beauty of all this stuff, you know. Whenever I felt sad, or whenever I felt unmotivated, or super depressed because of whatever breakup, or you know, things like that, I would draw strength from these things. And it's such a beautiful healing energy that I really hope that you guys get to experience it. So my number one advice for anyone trying to connect with this in their life is to travel. Okay, travel as soon as possible. Don't get stuck in one town. Don't get bogged down by debt and buying cars that you don't need and things you don't need. To put it into your drumming is the greatest gift you can give to yourself. Trust me, man. Just believe me. You will thank yourself, your former self in the future. You will thank yourself for making those types of decisions, because it all builds into a legacy, you know, into legacy for you later, right? In your career. Anyway, I'm very inspired about this right now, because there's some festivals coming in Bali, and well, that's what's going on. All right, my friends, I hope you're all doing well out there. Peace from Bali. Hi. Hi friends, I'm here to tell you about an exciting new program I have on my lesson site. It's called the Elite Program. In this program, you're going to be working with me very, very closely while I guide you through the entire site. The Elite Program, why do I call it that? Because I'm searching for the most dedicated people to study this material. If you want to be a professional drummer, you're going to have to change your life. You're going to have to put drums ahead of everything. And I'm here to make sure that that decision is something that's going to benefit your life in the most positive way it can. Some websites have guest artists that come in and show you some stuff for about an hour, and then they leave and you never hear from them again. You're stuck with the guys on the site that may or may not have much experience at all. In this program, you're going to be working with me directly, 3 hours a day for an entire week online, okay? We're going to be having conference online, video conference, 3 hours a day for a week. In this week, I'm going to guide you through everything, prepare you. I'm going to watch you play. I'm going to watch you practice. We're going to work together on things in the moment, okay, which is very important. Now, why the price, you may ask? Well, an online video session with me usually costs $270 for 2 hours. A private lesson with me in New York costs $100 an hour. A lot of guys charge a lot more than $100, maybe $200, $300 an hour. My price is $100 an hour. I think that's fair. So if you take that many hours with me, okay, 7 times 3, that's 21, that's $2,100. The price of the course is $1,900. So you're already saving $400 by doing it this way. $400 savings. Plus, you have the full year membership to the site with email support, Skype support, and everything else. This unique study situation has been brought about by the technology we enjoy today. Before, you would have had to travel to New York, hang out with me, come to my house, you know, have all those expenses of going to New York, which many guys have done. But now we can do things in a much more, let's say, efficient basis, more economical, and a way that you can be constantly in touch, not only having me in New York there while you're there. Okay, so this is, I think, an amazing opportunity to study. I've taught at some of the best drumming institutions in the world. That's not something that everybody can say. And I have all that knowledge right here waiting for you. If you're serious about your drumming, the lesson site is there. And I'm there as well, ready to make sure you get the most out of the drumming experience and having drums in your life. Okay? I hope you'll check out the Elite program. The most innovative curriculum there is comes from having the experience from teaching all over the world, drummers at every level from the highest drumming cultures on the planet. What you're going to need to participate is a way to interact with me online. You need to have a drum set up with your camera, your phone, or whatever. It has to sound halfway decent, and a good Wi-Fi connection so we have uninterrupted streaming. Now, as far as the price goes, if you use PayPal, you can break up the payments. That PayPal offers you a variety of ways you can pay. You can use your credit card, and if you don't have access to those things, just write me and we'll figure out a way. But this is a very important program and I think you're gonna love it. It's not a common opportunity to study drums, so I hope you'll take it and make the best of it. All right, folks, see you on the Elite program. Peace.